So a little bit about what I'm going to show you today. First and foremost, we're going to talk a little bit about how to set up for success, both kind of mind, body, and mind manager, not body, but mind and mind manager here. A lot of today is going to focus on centralizing with a package folder. If you don't know what a package folder is in Mind Manager, we'll talk about it a little bit more here in a bit, but basically it's kind of a back-end folder where you can put all of your good stuff, your templates, your map parts, um, your marker lists in Mind Manager and centrally store them either for yourself or your team. And we're going to use that throughout here because I think it's a really core way to turbocharge your Mind Manager usage. We'll definitely talk about some power mapping techniques as well. Want to give you some things that I think maybe more than anything else, folks don't tend to find on their own going through the software. So I really want to feature some of those items. And then power presenting as well. I'm sure you're aware that there is a slide mode in My Manager, but I think I can show you one or two things in there that most people don't seem to be aware of. Again, so that theme of what I notice over and over, most people are not aware of, even the folks that have been using it for years and have really rolled their sleeves up and used the software. It's going to be a lot of what I'm trying to show you here today. I'm in power reporting too. Definitely not only how to kind of query in here, but how to report that out as well. So with that, let's talk a little bit about setting up for success. And first, we'll talk about mindset. So first and foremost, keep it simple. Here's what I've seen, and I'm not holding myself above this. I'm actually pretty much telling you what I did. People tend to go from too complex to too simple to too complex, and finally to about just right after about 5 to 10 years. Like I said, I'm kind of bearing my soul to you with that. So do this. Just focus on keeping it simple and only adding what is helpful to you. If you treat the maps with the seriousness you would treat, a home you're building or a physical place, because one thing about software is since it's really free to add more topics once you purchase the software, you can be a little messier than you would if you were building a factory or something like that. Just kind of keep that, almost that laser-like focus on if you were building a real building, just focus on keeping it simple and only adding what is helpful to you. And I'm looking at the panel here just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep, we're absolutely recording today's session. You can have peace of mind on that. Okay, and kind of dovetailing into the last example then, avoid mapping too much. And kind of, again, a little bit of a mistake I made. Repeat after me. I'm not the mapper of the universe, or, I'm not, working, unpaid to, map every single thing out there. Just map, again, what is helpful for you, what is relevant, and reasonably within or affecting your sphere of control. That's all you got to focus on here. If it's helpful to you, your team, go ahead and map it out. Otherwise, enjoy your day. Okay, so a little bit about technology setup. I'm going to recommend to you, use a 2-monitor plus setup. Really, the more screen real estate you have, the better. It's visual software. But at a minimum, even if you're just on a simple, relatively small laptop, have a laptop and an external monitor next to it. That way you can put the map next to your regular work and kind of triangulate around it, get that leverage you're looking for. Secondly, because I see a lot of people doing this, especially when I do on-site work with clients, don't use a trackpad. Use a mouse. Trackpads are too slow. I mean, unless there's like some technique out there that somebody developed to be better with the trackpad than on a mouse, and I'm not aware of it. Maybe some course you can go take on the weekend. Just use a mouse. Truly saves you a lot of time. It'll be the best 20 bucks you ever spent in your life. Knowledge setup, there's only one recommendation I actually have here, and you might be thinking, why am I recommending this book? I'm guessing a lot of the folks, I'm guessing a lot of you are aware of this book, but David Allen's Getting Things Done, I think, is a book that every mind mapper ought to read. I'll just leave it at that, but it gives you kind of a systematic approach to attacking what comes at you that I think dovetails very nicely with Mind Manager. A lot of folks I've encountered over the years have read the book and kind of put it into place with their mapping. So I'm going to recommend that you read that book. Nobody's paying me to say it, so truly, just from the bottom of my heart, kind of recommendation. So I'm going to go ahead and end the walkthrough mode right now, and we'll talk a little bit about your Mind Manager setup here. The first thing I'm actually going to recommend that you do is put your task pane tabs on the left. So you can see that I've got my binder tabs in Mind Manager over here on the left. Now, if you don't have them to begin with on the left or the right, the way you turn them on in Mind Manager is to click on this little task panes button in the bottom right here, and then you'll see Show Task Pane Tabs. Make sure that's checked. But when you do that, they're probably going to appear over here on the right. I like to have them over here on the left because I do a lot of dragging and dropping either from the index or map parts out here into the map, and I like that to be a left to right flow. So if you want to have that on your system as well, go to File, Options, then just simply underneath General here, make sure you select left-handed user interface. You do not need to be a southpaw to take advantage of that. That's for anybody that wants to have what I think is the best drag and drop experience in MindManager. And since we're drag and drop in MindManager, especially if map parts or branches is really where I think you get a lot of your leverage, I would say to go ahead and turn that on. So I'm going to hit OK. That's all well and good. Also, maybe as much as mindset here, the binder tabs, once they are over there on the left, I'm going to submit to you, get used to working with the binder tabs open. I like to leave them open. I mean, granted I'm on a large enough monitor here to really warrant that, but I like to leave them open and not even minimize it. That way I've always got access to the guts of my software, to everything that I'm really working with, my navigation, etc. So we're going to jump right into the lessons here. And I guess, Ryan, let me ask real fast, do we have anything that I should address? We going good so far?
So far, so good, Kyle. I think you're good on audio and visual, so keep doing your thing.
Perfect. We'll do so. Okay, so I mentioned package folders before. The first thing we're going to do here then is we're going to create a package folder. And let me tell you, the benefits to that are this. It's really going to give you drag and drop best practices. Now, you may have discovered before that MindManager, it comes, right off the shelf here, with a package folder that is kind of the back end of MindManager, where I can, just be working on a project and I could drag in, an accomplishments map part. So, you may have found our map parts either accidentally or intentionally. But what I'm going to submit to you really want to do here is create your own package folder for either you and your team for the following reasons. It gives you those drag and drop best practices, as I mentioned, and for individuals, it really gives you central storage of your good stuff. Now, of course, you want to store it somewhere that's backed up if your computer ever dies, but this is 2015. I think we're all pretty familiar with that idea here. So for individuals, it's going to give you central storage of your good stuff. And then for organizations or teams, it's really going to give you a best practices foundation, because one of the key things when you're putting MindManager into place, either for yourself or your team, is you want there to be shared standards between the maps, where you do, where the color red or the color light blue means the same thing in one map as it does in another. So by having a shared package folder of your templates, your map parts, your marker lists, etc., that's where you're really going to get that leverage and make sure you create a shared team experience here. So let me go ahead without further ado then and create one for you. So I'm going to come up here to File, down to Options, okay, and then I'm going to click on Package Folders here, and I'm going to hit the New button, and I'm going to leave all resource types selected. I don't think I've really come across any instances yet where I really want to limit what can be in there. You really don't lose anything by just leaving it at all resource types, so that's going to be my recommendation to you. Say 2015-01-29, Mastery Package Folder. Okay, and then I'll find the path on my computer to it. And this is very easy to do. I mean, the longest part of it is probably just navigating to where it's stored on your system. Okay, selected the folder I'm going to use for it. Click OK, and I'll click OK here again. And now what you're going to see here is, okay, so now you see this 2015-01-29 Mastery Package folder. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and drag that folder I just created on screen for you here. So you see MindManager's already put some folders into place here. Now it's important you see here that it's actually just really a folder that MindManager is maintaining for you based on what you put in it and move around. So you can actually always go in here to the guts of it yourself and move things around manually just in the the File Explorer window if you should so desire. So be aware that that is there. Okay, so you've already seen it in map parts right here. You can see here clearly in map parts. We've got that mastery package folder right here. If I right click there, select new folder, I can say map part examples and could create as many folders as I liked. So then if I bring back on screen mastery package folder here and go to map parts, we can see that it's actually put that folder into place there. So again, we're just kind of mapping in MindManager to a folder that's stored on our computer here. So then if I go to Design, click on the drop down for Template Organizer, and if I click on Map Templates now, again, I come into here and I see there's my 2015-01-29 Mastery Package folder, and there it is under Map Themes as well, Marker List. So just showing you that we've created this pervasive experience for ourselves and our team just by taking a few seconds and putting that package folder into place here. Okay, so like I said before, just make sure you save it somewhere backed up. That's really the key here. So we're going to start off, you may recognize this map from the project management webinar that I've done, but we're going to take it in a vastly different direction here today. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how easy it is to actually then go ahead and say, well, this Prestige Worldwide Marketing Plan, we've worked with it before, and we think it's a decent map to at least base other projects our organization is doing off of. So here's the really cool part now. Say I want to add this as a template to my package folder. Come up here to Template Organizer, select Map Templates. I'm going to click on my package folder here, and I'm going to put a new folder underneath of it there. And I will call it, I'll just call it Template Examples. But again, picture it being marketing or sales or IT, entrepreneurship, whatever you need it to be. And then I'm going to click on the drop down here for Add New Map Template. I'm simply going to say From Current Map. Okay, looks good. Then I'm going to close that out. Now, just to kind of build the, build the case here, so you can see what it looks like. If I come back to my package folder and click on Templates, Template Examples, again, we can just see in the folder, there's that Prestige Worldwide Marketing Plan template. So now if I want to create a new instance of it, very quick and easy to do. All I got to do here is go to Template Organizer, Map Templates. I'm going to select that template that we just created here, select New Map, create a new instance right there. We'll call it Prestige Candy Mountain Project. I don't know what those guys would be doing at lunchtime, but that'll work for now. And then if I click the Save button here, there we go. Save it right here into my my example folder for today. And that's all it took to take a map that we thought was done at a very high quality level, save it as a template, and then deploy that template that we created as a new map that now exists as this Prestige Candy Mountain project. So you can see how easy it is to start to use your existing maps and resources to populate out that package folder here. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about some kind of low-hanging fruit, but I think high leverage mapping techniques that, again, most folks don't seem to be aware of. So the first one I want to make you aware of here is this. You look at a map, as you see right now, pretty simple, pretty straightforward map. And what you'll notice here, though, if you look closely, is that next to each topic here, you see these little white dots. I don't know if you know what those mean, and I didn't know for the longest time myself, but once you do, they give you a lot of power, because what I see a lot of folks doing is trying to, they try to drag their topic to like a custom place, and maybe I wanted it up here. They have a lot of trouble doing that. But if you click on the little white dot and then drag the topic around, you can put it anywhere out here in the mapscape you want to. Frequent question we get is, how do I put the first topic up at the top? Like, I want my map to have more of a 360-degree look. There we go, and then you'll notice the little white circle changes into a black dot at that point. The black dot means the topic is custom applied. So I'll show you that with each of these here. Just kind of drag them around. Okay, and I mean, we've really spread out the main topics now in the map. So if we want to bring it back to reality, go to Design, simply click on Balance Map. Here's another kind of connected subject here that you should be aware of then to that. Now, sometimes you just want to create a new topic and put it exactly where you want it precisely. So if I double-click out here, we can see that it actually creates a new topic with the black dot on it, because the double-click put the topic where I wanted it to be exactly. I'll call that output, very much keeping in line with the kind of operational flow to this map. And again, we see the little black dots here, let them know that we've custom drag and drop things, and the white dots let us know that it's just going with the standard formatting of the map. If it gets too far away from us now, simply going to click on the Balance Map button, brings us right back to reality at that point. Okay? So I think that will be helpful to you, especially when you've just got that one topic and you really just want it to be far out to the side of the map. But again, Balance Map brings it right back into view here for us. Okay. So the next kind of high leverage technique here that I don't see people aware of too often is the following. Now, you've probably seen the outline view before, especially when you started playing with the software. If you go to View, click on Outline right here, or alternatively, you can do it down here. So I click on Outline View, and it simply puts me into literally an outline view. And what I see is most of the time, people seem to think that this is just kind of a view. It's not really a workable view or anything along those lines. To flip it though, actually it is a very workable view here in MindManager. So if I select Input here and hit the Insert key, It'll create a child topic, and I'll call it, 2015-01-29 team brainstorming session. Create a couple ideas here. We're actually creating content for the map here in the outline view. Now let's say idea 3, we realize, well, you know what, that should be a component of idea 2. I can drag and drop it there, quickly change the name, and I'll call it, idea 2A or something along those lines. If I decide, though, I want to bring idea up here and put it below idea 2, I'll put it there. Maybe I'll call it idea 3, type another idea here in, call it idea 1, drag it up, boom. Can put icons on them if I so desire, so I can click on priority 1 right here. There you go. So you can add icons to them here. If I wanted to put task information on them here, I could easily do that. So I'll say start date, due date, resource, Kyle McFarlin. Now you don't see it over here in the topic, but I assure you it will be there when we go back to the regular map view. Further to that point, if I want to run a filter in the map here, I can easily do that. So I could maybe come down here and say, well, you know what? Let's just do a priority 1 filter here. Filters right down, and the filters in the outline view, this is important, exist independently of the filters in the map view. So if I come back over to the map view, and there you can see what we've just created here, this map is not filtered, but we go back over to the outline view and we can see that it in fact is. Now the only thing is here, when you run a filter in the map view, as you're aware, it will tell you in the bottom left that the map is filtered. Here in outline view, it doesn't tell you that. So just make sure you remember to come here and select remove filter at that point. So yeah, I think that's a very powerful way to use outline view that most folks, again, just don't seem to be aware of. And that's really kind of the theme today, is just showing you things that it seems like most people are just not aware of, but I want you to be, because they give you a lot of leverage when you use the software. So now we'll talk about drag and drop a little bit. So, I'm sure you're very well aware that anytime you're in a map here, I can just click and drag around. There's that content we added in outline view. That's pretty simple, and this webinar isn't to really show you, dragging and dropping around in a single map. But I want to show you a much better way to do it at a high level when you have a large, complex map that, you need to just put some source data on one side, and you need to put your destination on the right and not lose track of that source data. So I'm going to say Window, View, Window, and I'm going to put a vertical split into my map here, and I'm going to put my source data on the left, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my destination on the right. So maybe I want to drag idea 3 down here in knowledge management. I'll drag idea 2 over here to project planning, and then finally I'll drag idea 1 over here to project management. So you can see the leverage here is that we never lose sight of our source data over here on the left, and we're able to easily and quickly drag it into anywhere we want over here on the right. So when the maps get large, this is an invaluable technique I just showed you right here. Now, the kind of cousin to the technique I just showed you is actually dragging and dropping between different maps, and I'll show that to you right now. So the way we do that is I'm simply going to go ahead and first I'm going to remove the split on this map right here. Then I'm going to click on Window and Arrange. And we'll go ahead and use, let's say, we'll use that Candy Mountain project, tile it vertically here. So I'm going to go ahead and drag some things from my worldwide marketing plan here into the Candy Mountain project. So first thing to be aware of here, let me isolate that down just a little bit. If I wanted to drag this idea 1 topic from this map over to this map, I can simply click and drag and drop it right over there, and it moves it there. Maybe I realize though, well, you know what? This accomplishments topic should be over here. So again, very easy to click and drag over to there. Now, you may have discovered that because it's one of those where sometimes if you're ever needing to kind of, I call it broadsiding 2 maps, kind of against each other, you can't kind of help but try that. But here's one that a lot of people are not aware of, especially. You can actually drag and drop icons between maps as well. So if I click on the 1 icon here, of course, I can drag it between topics in the same map, but I can also drag that little 1 icon from here over to here. Maybe I change that into a 2 now and drag that over to here. So you can see how easy it is at this point to actually be moving things between the maps, not just topics, but markers as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and maximize the map out here. And I'm going to delete that redundant accomplishments topic there because it will drive me crazy. Whether or not it will drive you crazy, I don't know, but I hate redundancy in the maps here, as you saw me harping on about earlier on. And the next thing I want to show you here is actually pasting an outline into your map. So the kind of use case for this would be, you're on your phone and maybe OneNote or Evernote or something along those lines, and you actually just take the time to make a bit of an outline, on your phone. And obviously we're not on a phone right now, so I'm going to give you kind of the closest thing I can to that. So I'm going to open up this Word document and practice what I preach about the multi-monitor setup. So let me drag it on screen here. Okay. Okay, and what you see over here in Word is simply an outline here that is just one of those where, okay, project 5 is at the top level here, and then I've indented, literally hit my spacebar once to create subproject 1, and then for tasks 1 down through the milestone, hit my spacebar twice. So something that I myself really do all the time on my phone is I will actually create entire maps on my phone just using the spacebar skillfully, remembering how many times I hit the spacebar. And then what I'll do, once I get back to my computer and I want to paste that from OneNote or Evernote into MindManager or from Word, as you see right here, I'll simply click and drag across all these items right here, hit Control C as in copy, and then I'm going to hit Control V as in Victor here on Prestige Project 5, and I was actually able to paste that outline into MindManager, and because of those indentations used skillfully, it appears at the exact level that I want it to in the map. I don't think I've shown that to anyone yet who's known it, so if you know it, that's awesome because it does not seem like folks are ever aware of that. So I hope you see how powerful that could be. You're just working away on your phone. You can make an entire map just by using the technique I just showed you right there. So again, very easy to do that drag and drop in here in outline view. Another high leverage technique here. So right now we have Prestige Project 2, and if I click on the link here, it takes me right there to that map, Prestige Project 2. So something you can actually do if you've got a map hyperlinked and you say, well, you know what, there's not really a reason for Prestige Project 2 to be in its own map by itself. I can actually just right click on that link right there, can actually select Insert Linked Map. And that's what I'm going to do right now. You saw how quick that was? It doesn't even hesitate. Puts that linked map right in here. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead then and just remove that. And then I'll go to Design, put an org chart layout on it right there, and I'll remove the link to the original map since we've actually put it in here now. There you go. That's really all it takes to take an existing map and put it into the current map you want to see it in. So, next technique then, we're going to talk about some dragging and dropping then of portions of the map into the map parts folder because we've gone ahead, we've created some good content in the map here, and now we want to go ahead and populate out map parts a little bit because that's where a lot of our leverage is going to come from. Templates give you a ton of leverage in and of themselves, and I think most of you are probably familiar with that. But map parts really give you that kind of last mile solution where you can just designate one branch as the best practice for a process, an operational function, a procedure, and really then just use drag and drop to your heart's content. So what I'm going to do first and foremost here is I'm going to say, okay, Prestige Project 2, that's so great, I'm going to drag it in here as a map part. And then likewise, I'm going to drag Project 5 in here as a map part as well. Now you can see those contained down there. And again, to really drag the point on home here, put this on screen for you here. We can see underneath of our map part examples here, Prestige Project 2 and Project 5. So again, just mapping a folder from MindManager here, using it very skillfully, okay? So we've created those map parts here. So now, I'm working away. Maybe I go back over to, I don't know, the Candy Mountain map. And I say, well, you know what? We need to get Prestige Project 2 into here. Drag it right in here at that point. Likewise, Project 5. Drag that into here. So you can see how easy that is to drag and drop items into the map. But maybe I say, well, you know what, this map part examples folder here, that's all well and good, but I want to have a designated map parts folder here. So I'm just going to right click, select new folder, and then I'll call it, project examples. And maybe I'll drag Prestige Social Media as established into there. Then I'll look at my map part examples and realize, you know what, I want to have Prestige project number 2 there as well. So I'm moving things around here. I can easily drag and drop between these folders to put them exactly where they ought to be here. Now, also want you to be aware that it's very easy to modify a map part too. So let's say project 5 here. Now I come back over, wrong map. Come back over, right click on it, select modify. And then I'm just going to select subproject 4. And then I'm also going to say I want instructions here as well. And I'm going to move that over and move a folder that has some documents on my computer. Now here's where it really gets fun. What I can do with a map part is I can actually add an attachment in here. So let's say you had instructions that you wanted to provide to a member of your team or just anybody using the map part on how to carry out this project. So I'm just going to drag in Prestige Worldwide Business Plan, pretend it says instructions, I guess. Add it as an attached file right there, and here's where it gets really, really cool. So now I'm going to save this map part out, close it. I can even rename it if I want to, so I'm going to right click there and select rename it, and now I'm going to call it Project 5 with instructions. Okay, we see that that name is there now, and then I go to drag Project 5 with instructions into my map here, and boom, there it is. Subproject 4 is contained down there, and most importantly, we see that attached Word document there. So just take a moment and kind of become aware of how powerful that is, that you can create map parts that not only have your best practices, processes in them, but also contain the instructions, the attached documentation that will tell a team member exactly how to do something. And that's a lot of leverage there, because either for yourself later on, you might just forget the steps, or especially if it's somebody else that you're assigning it to, it saves those hallway conversations, the emails, the phone calls. It just makes your life a little bit more streamlined. And that's a lot of why we're here doing what we're doing after all, right? So I think that's really getting in there and kind of getting some leverage with the map parts. One other thing to be aware of as well, if you want to have multiple versions of one, I could right click on Project 5 here, duplicate it, and then I'll say rename. I'll call it, I don't know, new edition. We didn't really change anything, but pretend I did. So again, very easy to come in here and work with this view. And then you can see here, quick as could be, there's the new edition map part contained right there. So now we're going to kind of migrate over to talking about how to map like you're using a database. Now, MindManager isn't technically a database, but within a single map, we can really give it a look and feel that's kind of like a visual version of such. And what we're going to do to that end, first and foremost, is we're going to add some icons, we're going to add some tags, some fill colors, some font colors, and then we're going to go ahead and run some queries against those. They're pretty complex queries, and you may even see me mess it up just a little bit, but I'll show you how to fix it if you do. So without further ado, go ahead and we'll do that now. So the first thing we want to do here is this. We're going to go ahead and add a status group in here underneath of our index. I'm going to click on this drop down here underneath map index, and then I'm going to select add new icon group. And that's how we make a new marker group. Simply going to right click, rename it, and I'm going to call it status group. Now we've already got some flags in the map here, but I look at them and say, you know what, kind of dovetailing with balanced scorecard and whatnot, I want to take the green flag here and drag it down to status group. Same thing with the yellow flag. And then finally the red flag here. Okay, so we're grouping these icons in the way that's most advantageous for us to see here. Now if I click on them, it takes me right to set item. So again, kind of that feel of mapping like it's almost a database here. So the second thing I want to do then is I want to go ahead and create a new tag group. So I'm going to click on the drop down again here, and this time select add new tag group. I've seen a lot of people that work with the markers. I've seen a lot of folks though as well who don't know how to create their own groups. So I'm trying to feature that prominently here. So this tag group now, we're going to go ahead and call this business area. I can spell. And then I'm going to right click, select new tags here. And I'm just going to type in a tag for marketing, for sales, for IT. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and randomly add those to the topics here. So boom, 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 put marketing there. And then boom, 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 put sales there. And finally, boom, boom, we will put IT on those. So we've gone ahead and added those to some areas here, okay? Next thing we'll do, you can already see that I put a light blue fill color on some projects, and then we've got light gray fill colors on some others. But the problem is if we look here underneath the fill colors, and by the way, talking about things most people don't know, it seems like a lot of folks don't know that you can actually rename and filter on fill colors. So that's something I definitely want to feature here. But we can see over here that light blue and light gray, they don't mean anything right now except for, I forget what you call this, the color spectrum, but it's just giving us the actual technical definition of the color over here. So what I want to do is I want to rename the light blue here. I can click. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call light blue, let's call it active. It's going to represent active projects, and then we're going to right-click and rename the gray color here, and we'll call it inactive. So this is going to give us another dimension on which we can filter for things here in MindManager. Okay? And now we're also going to pick on font colors here. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of those randomly to the topics here again. Select that, select that, select that, and that. And I'm going to go ahead and put a font color on that of green. So we've added green there, and then I'll select the other ones that I did not select there. Okay. And yeah, it looks like we're not picking on project 5, so I'm going to go ahead then and put a font color there of dark red. And then we'll go ahead and redefine those. I'm going to delete project 5 out of there just so it doesn't take up any mental real estate. And I'm going to rename those. And first off, the dark red color, I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it unfunded. And the green color, I'm going to rename it and call it funded. It's a pretty simple example here. So we're going to be triangulating around based on, status of the project, what business area it is, whether the project is active or inactive, and then finally whether the project is unfunded or funded here. So we've got those randomly added to our topics here, and now we're going to have some fun. We're going to go ahead and we're going to save some and queries. So bear with me here because this can be a bit of a bear, and I'm going to select a fun bear though because we're filtering on multiple items here. So we're going to run a power filter here, easy to do, and first and foremost we're going to filter for unfunded active marketing projects, and I'll show you how easy that is to do here. So I'm going to select the project icon, and then I'm going to select the marketing tag, and then I'm going to select active for my fill color, and then finally I'm going to go ahead and select unfunded for my font color. So this is something we might want to look for, because if we have active marketing projects, we would naturally want to find, okay, let's filter down to that and make sure, we get that sucker funded. And then of course the key thing here is to select all markers, because otherwise it's just going to match any of those and we're going to get everything back. So I've selected all markers. So I'm going to go ahead then and save query, and I will call it, it's a mouthful, unfunded active marketing projects. Select OK. And then what I'm going to do, now when you have filter criteria selected, you'll see this checkbox here. So then I'm going to create another save query here. So I'm just going to hit the clear button here, and you saw it took everything out of there and that check mark went away. So what I'm going to do now then is I'm going to say, okay, this next one's going to be all markers as well, and this time we're going to look for funded active IT yellow status projects. When I practice this on my own, it seems like 70% of the time I don't get one back. But we will go ahead and modify it then if we don't, and show you what it looks like to actually modify it to make sure you are getting what you're looking for. So we'll look for funded active IT yellow status projects, and we will select the project icon, and then we're going to select the yellow flag. We'll select IT, select a fill color of active, and finally a font color of funded. All markers, that's good. Let me take a quick look through here, double check it. Okay, and then I'm going to do another save query here, and we shall call it funded active IT yellow status projects. Very specific. But we want to show you how easy it is to run queries that are very specific here. So we've saved that, and I'm going to hit cancel now. So let's take a look here. Let's see what we get back. So first and foremost, let's take a look for that unfunded active marketing projects. See if we get anything back. Wow, okay, so we got one. There we go, Prestige project number 4. It is not funded, but it is an active marketing project. So that's something you would want to take a corrective measure on. Let's run the other one now that has even a little bit more to it. And then our other query that we created here was funded active IT yellow status project. So let's take a look for that now. No matching topics. Okay, so let's reverse engineer this a little bit right here then. A topic must match the project tag and the yellow flag. So you know what? Maybe we'll go ahead and pick on this one right here. So project must match the project tag. So this one's got a project tag on it. It's got a yellow flag on it here. Now it's not IT, so let me remove that and make this one IT. And the fill color is active and the font color is unfunded. So now I'm going to go back and say funded active IT yellow status projects. Whoops, it's not funded right now. Got to watch out for that. So let me click on funded there. And now let me run it, and I'll say funded active IT yellow status projects, and there we go. So that's a lot of different dimensions I filtered on down there, and it can be a little bit to manage in your head, but that's why I said it's a bit of a bear. But you see how easy MindManager makes it. You build some of those queries into your map, and I mean you're going to be able, somebody asks you what the status of a project is across business lines, funding level, activity, and you're going to be able to find it with pinpoint precision here in MindManager. And that's a lot of what I wanted to show you right there. And I hope you can kind of see the power of that and see where that'll benefit you in managing your projects. So kind of to that example then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the filter here. And then what I'm going to do is going back to the package folder analogy here. So we've taken the time to do some work here. We've got unfunded and funded in here, active and inactive. So maybe we come back over to our Prestige Candy Mountain project in a second, and we want to bring those markers there. Well, how would we do that? What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to Template Organizer now. This time select Marker Lists. And let's go ahead and first let's make a new folder here, and we'll call it Marker List Examples. And again, this handy selection here from current map. There we go, Prestige Worldwide Marketing Plan, close. Okay, and take a drink of water for a second here. That's just being real with you. And then I'm going to go over to my Candy Mountain project. And if we take a look here at our fill colors and our font colors, we can see here that we don't actually have those items that we just baked in. Well, how do we get them into here? Real easily remedied. Go back up to Template Organizer here, select Marker Lists, and I'm going to select the one we just created here, Prestige Worldwide Marketing Plan, select Apply, boom, brings all that good stuff in here, and now we've got all of those schemas that we were looking for here. So funded, unfunded, funded, active, inactive as well. And we could actually even open up the guts level template that we saved and apply that marker list there as well. So you can do that too. You know what, actually, a little bit of extra credit right now. I'll do that just to show you it can be done. So if I come back to Map Templates here, select Modify, close it out, we look at fill colors and font colors right here, and we decide, well, we want to bring those in that we just created. Go down to Marker Lists, select the one we just created, hit Apply, boom. So now we've actually changed the guts level template here, and you can see that the icon's a little bit different down here. This is actually a template, not just a map. So again, I know I'm throwing a lot at you. I want you to feel comfortable with this. You will be able to go back, pause, rewind, fast forward in the future, so you will be able to model everything I'm showing you right now. So that's saving the marker list into the package folder and then actually applying it to a map or even a template. So now we'll slow down for a second here. We'll just talk a little bit about navigation for a second, because if there's anything that's important in MindManager, it's the ability to navigate easily and naturally, so you don't even really have to think about it here. So what I would want you to be aware of navigation-wise, and this is going to be a little bit of a mental leap here, but when the map gets big enough, I want you to see the map index over here that we've been working in here is every bit the navigation tool that the map itself is, because this used in tandem with the map means you can easily find what you're looking for in the map, and then once you're close enough, you can dig in further. Also, over here in the map index, it's so easy to say, I just want to see everything yellow status in the map here. Right-click on that maybe right there, go to quick filter, say show topics with this marker, and we literally just whittled the map out here down to anything that has that yellow status flag on it. So using the map index as a core navigational tool means we'll be moving so much faster through the map. And that's why I encourage you, given you have the screen real estate, I would say actually leave this panel open over here on the left-hand side of the screen. Now, likewise, sometimes you're going to be working on a project and you might just feel a little bit overwhelmed by it. Maybe it's huge and you just want to see a certain portion of it each time you come into a map. Let me show you how you would do that now. So let's say, you know what, prestige project number 2. We'll pick on that. So let's say we're just working on sub-project number 2 right now. So if I come over here to view and I select branch, I can say show branch alone, or I can simply hit the F4 key on it. I'm going to hit the save button now, close the map out. We're not too worried about that. And then if I reopen the map now, I'll reopen Prestige Worldwide Marketing Plan. There you can see that the map will actually remember that we had show branch alone in use. I've used this personally because sometimes if I'm just focused on a certain area of a project, I only want to see that sub-project when I open the map. And that way, you're not overwhelmed when you open it. You just look at it, okay, that's what I'm working on today. So with a dedicated project map, this can be a great way to save your map with branch alone in use. Now, you might be thinking, well, okay, what if I want to see the rest of it? You can do that either all at once by going to branch and show the branches, or the one a lot of people don't seem to use, but is very powerful, show one level up. So maybe I just want to see the other sub-projects in that project. So show one level up does that. If I do it again, it's going to bring me back to my project landscape here, and I can see all those projects there contained. And then if I hit it again, oh, whoops, one level up, my bad there. Show one level up again, show one level up. There we are. Now we're to the overall project topic. And then finally, show one level up brings us back to our entire map here. Okay. So I know we got about 5 minutes left before we do some Q&A, so I'm going to go ahead and speed up just a smudge here. So I think that's a very powerful navigation technique for you there, using that show branch alone in tandem with show one level up. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly, if I go to presentation here, I'm going to select auto create slides. Hope you already know about that feature. We don't have time to really talk through it now. Suffice to say, it does a very nice job of going through your map, automatically creating a slideshow for you. But here's the thing that a lot of folks aren't aware of. If I click on presentation, and then I say play slideshow, that's all well and good. It does a very, very nice job of creating a slideshow for us, but here's where the leverage really comes in. If you're using MindManager for your slideshow, I can actually add content to the map itself in the slideshow view, and it just seems like people don't know this. So I can say, well, you know what, let's keep with this brainstorming example here. So I'll say idea 1, idea 2, idea 3, boom, 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 idea 3, right-click on it, insert, put a priority 1 on it, right-click, go to tags here, and let's say the business area for it is sales. So we're really putting information on this topic here. Maybe I even want to format the topic. Go to Subtopics Lab, put it into an org chart here, click OK, go back to the map itself, show the map, click on my input here, and boom, there you go. You can actually work with the core content of your map while in a presentation. That is so powerful, and I hope you start using it now that you're aware of it. Okay? So the last section we're going to cover here is reporting with surgical precision. Now, in MindManager, you have the ability to export to Word, PDF, Excel. What I want you to be aware of, though, is you can actually filter and then do those exports and really use MindManager as a very powerful reporting tool. Okay? So to do so, what I'm going to have you do first here, or what I'm going to do for you, an example now, until I do a lot of training, I'm going to come over here to fill colors, active, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right-click on active, very informal filter here, and just say show topics with this marker. Okay, I've filtered the map right down to that. And now I'm going to say, well, you know what? I want to go ahead and export this to Microsoft Word. Okay, Prestige Worldwide Marketing Plan, and I'll call it Active Projects. I like these settings here. So boom, the last one. Then I like to just number all the way down, indent all the way down. But I'm going to make sure I check off all the task attributes here. This is going to give me my project information when I get over to Word. And I also like to export an overview map at beginning of document. Hit export here. And I mean, it's going through quite a bit in there. I mean, I've got some project information contained down in there. So did it very quickly. I mean, it's not like you need to go off and watch Netflix or grab a coffee break or something. Then I'll drag that back over here. And here's the really cool part here. So looking through that report that we just got back, so if I go back to the beginning, and we've got that nice visual preview of the map, and we can actually see here in table form, we've got our task information contained here. Okay, so keeping with the example here, this time I'm going to go ahead and search for my inactive. Do a quick filter on it. Show topics with this marker, but this time I'm going to go ahead and say File, Export. Export is my JetViewer PDF. And then I'll call this one inactive. Very quick. Open the file. And there we go. You know, we've got a nice PDF report we could send to anybody we like. PDF in MindManager really is kind of the MindManager viewer. This is a very easy and convenient way to send it to people because PDF, after all, is an established standard just about everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this out now and quickly, really quickly, by the way, show you the following last trick here I want you to see. We have quantitative embedded in MindManager here. So if I want to do an analysis here, maybe I want to do a cost-benefit analysis. Bring that in. Type some math very quickly into here. Do a better job of typing math very quickly into here. Kyle. Type math at all into here. Okay, so I've put some math in here on my alternatives, and let me put just a little bit more there. There we go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to isolate this topic by hitting F4. And I'm going to go to File, Export, Export to Spreadsheet CSV. I'll call it Cost Benefit. Select Table, the $1 million thing here. Make sure you check Include Topic Properties. Click on Export. Select Open. Maximize that for you there. Okay. And there we go. I mean, obviously, we probably want to format this view out a little bit, but we can see we actually exported our data over here, our total costs, benefits, and the cost of each alternative project over here. So powerful technique. And with that, I know we're at 150, so I'm going to go ahead and Ryan, we'll turn it over to Q&A.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kyle. Fantastic presentation. I think everybody's getting a lot of use out of it. We do have a few recurring questions.
Yes.
That are great for Q&A. If you could go over again where to locate map parts and how to align them on the left side again.
Absolutely. So the first thing to have them at all, we'll address left or right in just a second here, is if you don't actually see your map parts on the screen, here's the best way to do it. In the very bottom right of the software, you will see this little button here, and if you hover over it, it's called Task Panes. Click on it, and then make sure Show Task Pane Tabs is checked. And that will bring these map tabs over here. It's going to put them on the right. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it, though, is this. Like I said, I like to have them on the left. I want to do my drag and drop into the map here. A lot of design software, creative software, does follow that model too. So I'm going to come here to File, select Options, General at the top, and then here's the $1 million button here. Make sure left-handed user interface is shown. You do not need to be a southpaw for this to be of massive value for you. I happen to be a left-hander, but it has nothing to do with that. I just want my drag and drop to be from left to right. That is a very natural flow and feel to it. And that's pretty much all there is to it.
Okay, great. Thank you. And another one we have is where we can locate icons, you know, standard icons, custom icons for use in our maps.
Oh, okay, sure. So if you wanted to get started with icons here, here's the best place to just kind of go in and see what you got. library over here. And by the way, I realized I didn't fully answer the last question. So then once you have the panes open over here, map parts is in about the middle, and you'll find those and you'll be able to get started with them. You had a package folder, you'll see your package folder in here. And then as far as this question goes, come over here to library, and again, you'll see your libraries up here, your package folders, so you can save things directly where you want them to be. But icons, I don't have any in this package folder we just created, so I'll go to the default MindJet library here. Then we can see, there's a top level to it, and then we've got alpha black, green, red. So if you've seen me do webinars before, or just in looking in today, you can see that I like the alpha black right here for my project icon, so I can just drag them right out of here into a topic. Or alternatively, if I select a topic and just click on it once, puts it right there into that topic. So do that, and then if you come back to your index here, you'll see general icons right here. So what general icons means is this icon is both not grouped and not named. If I right click and rename it here, call it cool guy, I don't know, and then it's going to put it under single icons right here, and then I can drag cool guy up to let's say we put it under status group, even though, we'll put it under prestige project markers. So now we've got cool guy up there. Now it's an instance in our map, and now we can work with it. I could go adding cool guy wherever I want.
All right.
And that's
great.
That's that, yeah.
All right. That's icons.
Yeah.
One thing that I think people are curious about is, the map you used earlier got a little big, and so when maps start to get large, what's the best way to print them, or which is the best way to view so we can print them?
Okay, absolutely. So, a couple of different ways you can attack that. One of the ways that I would tell you is, you kind of saw me add a map to another map before, but you could potentially always say, okay, well, you know what, Prestige Project 2 here, I just want to right click on it, send topic 2, and then select new linked map. And I'll just leave the settings default right now. Prestige Project 2, click save. And it's actually going to remove that map from the map I was in. Let me fix the formatting on that there real fast. Put that in an org chart view there. And you can see it's got a hyperlink back to the original map. So that's a very quick way to actually get it out of there. Now, on the other hand, though, maybe it's just a large map and you just want to print a certain portion of it. It goes back to that kind of WYSIWYG effect to MindManager when you're filtering and when you're printing. If I just hit F4 on this topic right here, or again go to View and say Branch and Show Branch Alone, and then I go to File, Print. Let me select Print Preview here. It's only going to print what I've actually got shown. And you could use filtering for that as well, so a lot of different ways to game it at that point. And that's going to be the way you want to go about it.
Okay, fantastic. And then another thing people are curious about is the Gantt chart. I know we cover that heavily in the project management webinar that we do have coming up in February, everybody, and there's a link that I've placed in the chat window there you can follow to register for future webinars. But if you want to just show briefly the Gantt chart functionality.
Sure, absolutely. So, the Gantt chart functionality, so this is probably familiar to you if you've seen the webinar before, so I'm just going to put an org chart on it real fast here, put some numbering on it as well. That way it looks like a true WBS. I'm going to quickly as well go ahead, these dates here in the past, so I'm going to move the project to, let's say, today. That'll work. Okay, and then if I click on Gantt chart down here, no, sometimes you just gotta move things around just a little bit to see them well if you've got some long topics in the map. I am definitely guilty of that because it's my map and I do what I want. Yeah, and there we go. There's the Gantt chart there. The topics up here directly correspond to the topics down here, and you can see the dependencies up here reflect down here in the Gantt chart. If I click and drag on a topic down here in the Gantt chart, this is announced Twitter page to email list. If I hover over it, it shows me that. So let me bring that into view here. So right now that's on 2/18. If I drag it down here, you see the dates change up here as well. So the views are directly linked. If I, let's say, put a icon on here of 3/4 complete, You saw that it mostly filled up down here in the Gantt chart. We see that 75% status. If I assign this topic right here to somebody else and giving it to Tony Montana, we see that Tony Montana becomes a person up here as well. So again, a very synchronous view. What other good stuff can I show you in about 1-2 minutes? I can remove slack time if I want to from all tasks. You know what, another good example before I do it is if I move the project, let's say I need to move it to start out on the 2nd of February, but I don't want to move the milestones because I owe those to stakeholders. I hit OK there. And it actually moves those items here. So let's say, let me move that back just a little bit. So now we're not going to finish that last milestone in time here. So now what I can actually do is say remove the slack time from all tasks, and it just whittles me right down to, the shortest path to completion here. And now, I'm not going to hit my first milestone, but I'm way going to, hit before my second milestone occurs. And the third one, I'm killing it at that point. So I'm trying to think, were there any Gantt specific questions? I'm not used to barreling through it this quickly. So if there's anything particular folks wanted to see, I'll make sure I show it there.
No, nothing in specific. I think it was just, showing where to find it. And I think you did a good job of showing the basic, removing slack time and things like that. So that was great, I think.
Okay, yeah.
We obviously get deeper into that in the project management webinar.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, I think we're just about on time. Kyle, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.